Hello everybody. Right, now it's come to the part of the kit that's probably my least favourite, which is the chain. And I've had many problems with these type of chains over the years, mainly because the only down thing I have with Model Factory Hero kits is the chain. It's a great prospect of having a working chain, or even having a really working chain, a chain that's actually made up of individual links. It looks great, but putting it together is a little bit problematic. And I have had more problems with 1/9 scale chains than I have actually had with the 1/12 scale chains, which I did, as you've seen in my previous video. I did a Yamaha. No, it wasn't, it was a Honda, sorry. And their chains basically have a resin or a plastic, I should say, center links. So these pieces here, which join the links together, are actually plastic, and they're actually better being plastic than they are being white metal. For the reason is the mouldings are better, and the way they work to hold the chain together is you basically, it's the old style method really. You get a hot pin. Once you put the link together, you put the links together like you do here. I'll show you how these go together in a minute. But you would put the links together, and then you would hit them with a hot pin, and you would melt over the ends of the centers of the link, and that would hold the links together, the outer links on. And the beauty of that is you had control over the link. So the idea is, I mean, I use a soldering iron because you can a temperature control soldering iron, because you can just get it to a point where the plastic becomes rubbery, and it doesn't stick to the iron. It doesn't melt the plastic, but it molds over. It just domes the link over. The problem with these ones is the white metal. And the white metal, as much as they try, is never cast perfectly. If you look at these links, I can't even show them. It's because they're just too small to show on camera. And I haven't got a microscope showing the links are not uniform, and the damage, the mouldings hasn't come out properly. And that's just the way they are. There's not a fault with the kit. It's just the way these kits are, and they don't work how they're supposed to do, really, because the ends are damaged. But the idea of these is, I'll show you how the link goes together first. So what I've basically done on this section here is, if you look on the diagram, basically you layer the first set of links for the base of the chain all the way down, and then you overlay top set to join. So you've got these links joined, and then you join these two with the top set of links. So you're overlaying two links. So in that respect, the chain becomes a chain, because it becomes as one piece. But then they tell you is to press the tops of the white metal over like that, and that's meant to dome them enough to hold the links together. The problem is, because the white metals they don't look like that, the mouldings are not as sharp as that, what can happen is, when you press those down, they will completely deform. And the other thing is, you've got to press down straight. They say do it with a pair of pliers, where a pair of pliers, they don't go straight. A pair of pliers, pliers always go on an angle. You know, they look like they're going down straight, but you're pressing, when you hit the dome, you're hitting one side more than the other, and it can deform the link. So what happens is it either deforms it completely, and so it snaps the link off completely. It basically breaks off because it's so thin, or it domes, but it's not domed enough where the links pop off. And the other problem is when you get your links on like this, there's nothing holding them on really apart from gravity. Now, previous bikes, what I've done, I tried basically just to do what they said, and basically lift this up with a pair of pliers and try and squeeze over the ends of the centers of the link of the chain, which doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is if you only have to, I don't say jump, but you only have to move it very gently, and these links will start to come off. They'll start to pop off, and you're forever putting them back on. So what I found the easiest way of doing it, or it's a bit of an aid, is actually to a point gluing them on. But what I glue them on with, some of you guys probably who do these kits have probably seen this method before, but it does work. This is the way I tend to do it now, because it aids in frustration, because it will drive you completely and utterly nuts, because you'll always be putting the links back on. So what I glue them on with is Tamiya clear. You can use any clear. I would use acrylic clear. I'll tell you why in a minute. So basically all you would do is you go over the tops of the links with Tamiya clear. So, and with it being clear, you're not painting the link. All you're basically doing is it's soaking in to the link, and it's basically stopping them coming off. And this will keep your sanity, believe you me, because I've ended up walking away from many of these chains because I think I would have thrown it at the wall. So that's the professional modeler going out the window in it. People who say I'm a professional modeler losing it over a chain. But I've even had a point where I've joined the chain together and a link had actually popped off, and I've pressed over the link, and of course if the center links are not on, the chain has a big hole in it, has a big gap in it, which, can I just say, was not a pleasant experience at all. So basically once that's down, is let that dry on there. Back into view. Right, so let that dry, and you will do both sides. So you would hit these links over to bruise them over one side, and then you would flip the chain over, and you would do the other side, doing exactly the same. Put the links on, and then glue them, and then knock them over, and then you basically pull them off this jig. They're on basically a little jig to hold them together, and then you would cut off, as per instructions, you would cut off the center pieces, which allows the links to be a chain. And you're going to say, well, you glued them all together, you put the thing on. That's correct. Now, there's two ways you can use this, which I found was quite good. When you take it off, the chain will be obviously it'll be very stiff. If it will sometimes move at all, you can get them to move if you're really careful. The good thing about I found that way is if you want to mold them round the sprocket, if you leave them as is, and you can just loosen them off slightly, you can loosen the chain so it's moldable. So you can mold it round the sprockets, so the large sprocket at the back, because you're not going to know on the bike whether the chain's glued or loose on around the sprocket areas, because they're going to be around the sprockets again. So you could leave them where they're still quite a stiff chain, and then just form them round, and it'll stay where you put it, which is the beauty of it. The chain won't move. The sections where the chain is floating, which is between the sprockets, if you leave them straight, you can still leave them partially sticky, if you want to do that, if you want to call it that. But the top of the chain, you want a little bit of sag in it, and the way I do that is I will put the chain together and join it where it's still a stiff chain. Is what I call a sticky chain. And then what I will do is because it's white metal, you can add a very, very, very small amount of cellulose thinner on a brush and just run it through the links. And what the cellulose will do will obviously, because it's only acrylic paint, it will remove the clear, and then the links will loosen. And by adding more or less, you can get that little bit of sag in the chain. But in that case, the links never ever come off, because in theory they're glued together. You can try hitting them over still, and it might hold together. But I've had the choices. The problem is where they still come apart, and you're forever trying to repair links. They don't give you an infinite number of these. You can pull them off individually and try and join the two pieces of chain together, which is testing. That's all I'll say really on that matter. But you've only got so many. You can buy other kits of these. I think they're about 40 quid, I think, for a 1/9 scale chain kit. So you can get more, but you know, the whole idea is to try and build it as for what you've got. So they're not the easiest of kits. I wish they would have used the same idea, going back to what I was saying about the 1/12 scale. I wish they'd used the same idea of the plastic centres. Because even though they were smaller, you had more control over the moulding of the top of the rivet. And there was more perfect, because there was a moulded, an injection moulded part. The mould was far better, excuse me, than a die cast, than trying to die cast them or white metal cast them. It was just generally better. I mean, I was trying to try and video this doing this, but the video won't focus properly, the camera won't focus properly. It's extremely difficult to show you the size of the chain that you're dealing with. I can show you probably the size of the size of the links. This is these are Tamiya tweezers. So if you can try and get some idea. So they're relatively large. I mean, the 1/12 scales are probably a lot smaller still. So it's not like the miniature, but it still can be a pain. The good thing about these kits is there's no etching, so you can just pull them straight off and they go straight on. You've got no cleanup. I've had some of the kits where you've actually got to snip them off, and they've obviously you've got to clean them up. So you do one section. If I try and get this into, these are probably going to be stick now. So you know, if I turn them over, they won't, in theory, won't come off. There you go. Look. So they're basically glued. They're glued on. If I can get it into focus. Onto there. So what I'll do now is I'll just mould these over. Sometimes you can have a little tiny punch. If you get a little punch and a very light hammer, you can just bruise the ends over. But I'm not unduly bothered if I don't get a perfect dome. Aesthetically, I want to try and get something that looks right. But if it's not going to hold the link on, I'm not really bothered, because the glue or the lacquer will hold them together. So it's just the way I've done it, and I've just found it's an easier way of doing them. Trying them doing as per instructions doesn't, for me anyway, it doesn't always work very well. And what you can do once they're on the bike, you can stain them. You can play around with them and do different different coatings. If you want to put like thin lacquers on to make them look oily or dirty or whatever, you can do that. Just take the edge off the side of the chain. It just makes more of obviously a realistic look. So I'm going to leave it at that with the chain. I know it's only a very short video that I've done on it. There's an hour or 2 or 3 hours of putting these things together. And again, this stuff is quite boring just to watch me trying to put links on it. You can't even see the links anyway. So I just thought I'd do a bit of a video just to show you on the way I do the link. It's not maybe the right way that other people would do it. It's not the way that maybe Manufacturer Hiro would advertise doing it, but it's the way I've found that's easy enough for me. And I think in modelling, you tend to find your own way. You can take, like we said in other videos, you can take advice from other things, other people, and different videos, and get that and come to your own conclusion. But sometimes you've just got to set to and do it. There's always a first time for everything. And the first time I did one of these, as I said before, it was quite taxing, really. So I've just found a way that I find it a little bit easier to do it. And if you find that helpful, all is good. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'll just do a quick follow-up with the last video of the chain. Basically, this is what you'll get when you take it out the jigs. So what I've basically done is you do them in 3 small sections, and then half a section, and then you join them all together, which will give you this, basically. And as I said, it's a little bit stiff on the thing, on the links, because of the Tamiya lacquer. If you wanted it completely loose, you see the bits where it's joined are quite loose. You see there, look, that's because there's no lacquer on them. We had to join the chain together. If you wanted to make this like a loose fitting chain, all you would have to do is dip that in cellulose thinner, and it'll just become, or in theory, it'll become it'll become a loose fitting chain. It'll just become completely relaxed. It'll basically unglue it together. The problem you might face is the bits where you press them over, if they haven't attached the chain properly or the link properly, they'll fall apart. They'll come apart from the link, and you might get sections where it'll unjoin. And that's what I've had on previous chains. So when they've come apart, they've broken the chain in half, and you've got to basically cut out the actual white metal piece, the white metal link, because you can't reuse this. You've got to basically cut that out without damaging the link, and then try and get another one of the spare links that they give you, and there's only 16 spare in this kit, and then try and feed one of those through, attach the links together, and then press it down again with your pair of pliers. And I've had that happen numerous times, to the point where I was fed up of doing it, really. You've got to handle these chains, with fingertips. They're quite, obviously, they're quite they're not a hard-wearing thing to be handling. So you only really want to be handling it when you're going to fit it onto the bike. So just a warning, for anybody that's starting out these kits new, who's not done one of these kits before, you have to be a little bit on the careful side when you've actually got it together. This won't be touched now until it goes on the bike, because I want to fit it and then leave it. The colour scheme for this is matte black, looking at the photographs that I've got. So now would be the time to basically paint it, but you will scratch it. You will struggle to paint. You will struggle to scratch it. I was going to I have tried to primer them before, but the primer and the paint just glues the chain together. So what I found basically doing is leaving it as it is, putting it on the bike, and then weathering it when it's on the bike. Use thin washes, and doing that on the bike, and just tone it. It takes a while because obviously you're only putting washes on, but just keep adding the wash onto the chain and toning the chain down and toning it down and toning it down. And over a period of a few hours, just applying some thin washes, you will take that newness off the chain, and it will sort of blend in. So it does come right in the end. But I thought I'd just do a bit of a catch up, getting it out of the jig. I know the video that obviously trying to make these videos are not the greatest because you can't really see it very well, and even this you're struggling to actually see the chain really. But and they do say in that they try and make them in the instructions that will actually work. They'll actually rotate. So in theory, you should be able to rotate the wheel, and it will rotate the chain. And I have tried in previous kits, mainly 12th scale that I've done. I have had them working probably about a quarter of a turn, but realistically, you're not going to run them across the carpet. These models are designed as scale models, and they're not designed to be played with. So, I'm not particularly bothered if the wheels are locked solid. Sometimes I lock the wheels solid so the bike doesn't move when it's on a stand. If you have the wheels that they rotate easily, sometimes I've locked the wheels down where they don't move. So when they're in a display case, the bike has got a little bit of friction on the wheel so it don't move. Right, so with that, I'll leave it at that. Any questions, or if you've got any things you can add to this, building chains and bits and pieces, leave it in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. So I'll see you in the next video.